The NBA season didn't end the way Warriors fans wanted, but there's still hope. The 2023 NBA draft is only a month away, and Golden State will be selecting at pick number 19. If we've learned anything from the Warriors, it's to expect the unexpected. And with the team at somewhat of a crossroads, questions surrounding GM Bob Myers' job, and tons of speculation as to who the pick might be, this could be the most important Warriors draft in years. Thanks for stopping by the channel today. My name is Troy, and I make basketball videos like this all the time about anything and everything NBA. Do me a favor and drop a like on this video and subscribe if you're new. I'm going to tell you how the Warriors are going to shock the world at the 2023 NBA draft. This is going to be huge. The draft will be here before you know it, and for the Warriors, they need a win on draft night more than anyone. The last few drafts have been, how do I say this, a bit disappointing. James Wiseman didn't work out. Reports have come out that Jonathan Kuminga is complaining about his role and might want a new team. Moses Moody is okay, but he has his limitations. Overall, no one has stood out as a guy who can bridge the gap from the Steph, Klay, and Draymond era to a new era. The Warriors are on record saying that they want to continue to compete for championships, but at the same time, they want to bring in new players to develop. Next year's roster is already looking pretty stacked, though. Curry, Klay, Wiggins, and Looney will be back, and all indications are that Draymond will return too. So there's the starting five back together again. The bench will feature Gary Payton II, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Jordan Poole, and second-year players Patrick Baldwin Jr. and Ryan Rollins. Those players are either flawed, one-dimensional, or inexperienced. Not exactly striking fear in the hearts of opposing teams. So listen up, everybody. Get ready to take some notes. We're going to go through some potential draft targets. First up is Kris Murray. And if he looks familiar, that's because he's the twin brother of Keegan Murray, who was drafted 4th by the Sacramento Kings last year. Now, Kris isn't the shooter that Keegan is, and he's not quite as athletic, but he is 6'8", and he's a well-rounded wing who stepped into Keegan's role at Iowa this season and averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. He'd fit in on the Warriors as a guy with real size and pretty good athleticism who can immediately step in and play. He may be older at 22 years old, but he's also very experienced and can contribute immediately as a rotation small forward or power forward, and can even start when needed. After drafting guys with potential over the last few years, in Wiseman, Kuminga, and Baldwin, this would be a pick for a guy that can play from the jump. I also like his flexibility in the front court next to Wiggins, Green, and Looney. And next up, what about Dereck Lively II? This is a guy who was ranked number 1 coming out of high school before his first year at Duke. Lively struggled to start the season for the Blue Devils, but by the end of it, there was not a more impactful defender in college basketball. At 7'1", Lively is an elite rim protector who averaged 2.5 blocks per game in only 20 minutes. He defends ball screens well and does so in a variety of different schemes. He can hard hedge and recover, he can drop, he's a lob threat, he's mobile and runs the court very well too. Offensively, he's extremely limited right now, but Lively has immense tools and a 7'7" wingspan that shows potential to not just be a good defender, but I think a great one. In fact, he could end up being what the Warriors hoped they'd be getting from the Wiseman fiasco. Give Lively a couple seasons and he could be on the low end Mitchell Robinson or on the high end Tyson Chandler. My only fear with this pick is that Lively is moving up draft boards so quickly that he might not be available at the number 19 pick. But if he is there, the Warriors need to jump on Dereck Lively. Next up, let's talk about Jalen Hood-Schifino. He is a well-rounded young prospect who won the Big Ten's Rookie of the Year award this past season playing for Indiana. He averaged 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. He's also a very strong on-ball defender with real size at 6'6". He's shown great unselfishness and comfort in ball screens with a knack for knocking down mid-range jumpers. However, he's not a particularly adept shooter off the catch yet and will need some fine-tuning in that area. But if he can improve there, and along with some decision-making questions, JHS could get on the court a touch earlier than a lot of one-and-done players. However, the shooting does need to improve as he made just 33% from 3. But the Warriors tend to like well-rounded prospects who contribute in multiple capacities, and I like Hood-Schifino as an extra ball handler behind Steph Curry, especially with all the questions surrounding Jordan Poole. Next up is Bryce Sensabaugh, and few freshmen in college basketball were as productive this past season as him. He averaged 16 points while shooting 48% from the field, 40 from 3, and over 80% from the line. Beyond that, he's a terrific shot creator, and he's excellent at separating just enough and really sharp as a tough shot maker. One small concern is that he really struggled a bit after teams started to really key in on him as a first option. Over his final 12 games, his numbers were not anywhere close to what he was averaging earlier on in the season. But on a team like the Warriors, where you'd have a bunch of other guys getting the defense's attention, I think Sensabaugh could excel. He also needs to work on his defensive game because teams will routinely attack him. Still, he's a really solid prospect as a scorer. So if the Warriors want a guy who can create for himself and be a threat in that area, Bryce Sensabaugh might be the guy. I do expect Dante DiVincenzo to leave in free agency, so I think Bryce could fill that role. And I think you're going to like this next guy. Warriors fans know Jaime Jaquez Jr. from his days at UCLA. This is a guy who flat out knows how to play. He's been really impressive in workouts and interviews, so teams are loving him. He's a really skilled player too. Jaquez can create his own shot, he defends well within a team concept, and is the kind of player who will lift the energy and intensity of those around him. He was a 4-year player for the Bruins and was an All-American this past season. Lots of talent and a good leader too. Jaime Jaquez is extremely competitive, he's tough, and he's willing to put an effort on both ends. Yeah, sure, there are things he needs to improve on, and his ceiling may not be as high as some of the other guys that could be selected in the first round, but overall, Jaime Jaquez is a pretty low-risk player, and I think it's easy to imagine him having a 10-year NBA career. I think teammates and fans would love him too. Finally, I want to talk about Leonard Miller. He's a 6'10 forward out of the G League who is a terrific athlete. He's very fluid, and he has unique body mechanics that allow him to get defenders off balance as he handles the ball as a driver or in transition. He's an elite finisher with incredible touch who makes almost 70% of his shots at the rim. He also had noticeable improvement as the G League season went on. You may remember him last year because he dipped his toe in the draft before he pulled out, but this year he's a guaranteed first rounder and, like Derek Lively, may even go a few spots higher before the Warriors can snag him. But I like him because he has great size, strong basketball IQ, and he's a high character guy. He checks all those boxes and fits incredibly well as an elite rebounder and attack-oriented player next to the other Warriors front court options. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments and who you want the Warriors to take in the 2023 NBA Draft. Give me your thoughts on these names and let me know if there's anybody I missed. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like so YouTube will recommend this content to other folks, and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Thanks for watching today's video, and I'll catch you next time on the Half Court Report.